by Lauren Silva Lachlan Dallas, August 24. Reuters breaking views. The Trump administration's latest pitch for reviving coal lacks a rich seam. The Department of Energy properly identified in a report published on Wednesday that cheap natural gas has made the solid carbon uneconomic, as well as undermined the grid's reliability. But suggested remedies like rescinding climate policies and regulations broadly and quickly seem designed more to appease the president than address the problem. Natural gas displaced coal as the leading source of electricity last year. As the Dow report spells out, its abundance has driven the price down to an average of around $3.20 per million British thermal units over the past several years. That's roughly half the average price between 2003 and 2008. For now, the dominance gas enjoys is keeping consumers' utility bills low. Over-reliance on one source, though, as the Dow argues, is a mug's game. Natural gas prices spiked as high as $14 per million BTUs in the wake of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita when production in the Gulf of Mexico was disrupted. When the cost of gas soared during the polar vortex of 2014, coal plants provided 92% of increased power generation needed to keep the heat on in Americans' homes. The Dow report has some decent ideas to make the power grid more resilient. These include improving communication between providers of different power sources, more research and development to promote next-generation ideas like battery-powered systems, and removing some costly regulations that leave nuclear power at a disadvantage. But the onus is on promoting coal, a sector President Trump has favored since he was on the campaign trail. That's not only contradictory to other recommendations in the report. Nuclear power ought to be a better choice, as the report points out. For example, stations generally store enough fuel to send power to the grid for up to 2 years. Coal plants, by contrast, on average stockpile 3 months' worth of the black stuff. What's really missing, though, is a push for innovative solutions that would give the United States the ultimate trifecta: clean, reliable and cheap fuel. They exist. South Australia, for example, has just enlisted Solar Reserve to build a solar thermal plant using molten salt to store energy for 8 hours after sunset. That, along with help from Tesla and others, is part of the state's broader plan to exit coal completely. The Dow, by contrast, looks stuck in the past. Context News. The U.S. Department of Energy released a study on August 23 that examined challenges to the nation's ability to generate electricity. The study, commissioned by Energy Secretary Rick Perry in April, said flat demand growth, policy interventions and an economic shift favorable to natural gas have resulted in low energy prices. These market changes have helped buyers of electricity, the report said, but are posing challenges to the long-term viability of the grid. The paper also said that the advantaged economics of natural gas-fired generation have been the biggest contributor to coal and nuclear plant retirements. It is apparent that in today's competitive markets certain regulations and subsidies are having a large impact on the functioning of markets, and thereby challenging our power generation mix, Perry said in his cover letter to the study. It is important for policymakers to consider their intended and unintended effects. Editing by Anthony Curry and Kate Dugwood. Copyright Reuters News 2017.